Okay, we'll get going with the meeting. 9:07 a.m. I'll open the meeting. Good morning, councillors, and welcome. I would like to find out if anyone would like to have confirmation of the minutes, 22nd of March 2023. Councillor McMullen.
I just got a question on them first, if that's okay. Do you do that first?
Yeah,
Yep.
we have to
I'm on
before.
page 12, 14.1. It said that we lay this on the table till the next ordinary meeting to come back via a council briefing to review financial implications and to consider how decisions about whether we go ahead with charities are made. Well, this is the next ordinary meeting. It's not on the agenda.
I should have just said future meeting.
Yeah, well, it says
What
that.
page, sorry?
Page 12 in the minutes.
You moved the...
I'm only saying that it's wrong. Like, if it's not going to be here at the next ordinary meeting, that should be changed.
A future ordinary meeting.
The problem is that's the resolution,
Yeah,
so it's just not
that's
as
the
part of the
resolution.
agenda, unless you want to move a separate motion just after the minutes to reflect that matter to a briefing.
I suppose if you read that in the context in which it was moved, we lay this on the table, the next ordinary meeting to come back via a council briefing. It hasn't come back via a council briefing, it'll be the ordinary meeting after that council briefing.
Okay, is that all right? I just
Good pick up.
Well, we haven't had the briefing.
no, we haven't had the briefing.
Okay.
Right. That's fine. Just noticed it.
Well, that'd be my take. I don't know, other people may have a different interpretation though.
Okay, Councillor McMullen.
Mr Mayor, I'll move that the minutes of the ordinary meeting held on the 22nd of March.
Sorry,
Yeah,
Councillor McMullen, given that Councillor Taylor's raised it, when a question of clarity has been sought on motions before, we have actually noted that as part of the moving of the minutes, that the intention was to come back to the next ordinary meeting after a council briefing. Know what I mean?
Through the chair, you could amend the minutes to reflect that we lay this on the table to next ordinary meeting after a council briefing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Not via. Sorry.
yeah. I'll move that the minutes of the ordinary meeting held on the 22nd of March 2020 to be confirmed with one amendment that we lay this on the table to the ordinary meeting after a briefing. Page 12, on page 12. That's right, page 12, 14.1, we lay this on the table to the ordinary meeting after a briefing.
Do we have a seconder? Councillor O'Neill. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? We'll go to the vote. All those in favour? 8-0. Yeah, that's a good point. I might do that next. I'd like to move a leave of absence for Councillor O'Neill for this. Councillor Edwards for this meeting. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Guthrie. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? We'll go to the vote. All those in favour? 8-0. Okay, 8.1, Roma Railway Historical Cemetery. I'd like to move that council consider a historical project for the Roma Railway Historical Cemetery as part of the 2023-24 budget. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Burkett. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak?
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Can I just ask how many community members are involved in this? Exactly?
4.
4.
Yeah, but
That's the driving.
Yeah.
Driving
yeah.
force, yeah.
and I think that but it's actually council's cemetery, like council's responsibility. They're more finding the information out, who's there, and doing all that side. But part of this project is to do with surveys and that they need before they can go and do their stuff next, if you know what I mean. So
Does your manager have anything to tell us about it, or?
I did put in a project for it, Councillor Taylor, but
Okay.
we're a bit behind in putting that in. And it's just that they require funding to help them put a plaque up, put seating there, and fencing, and to survey it off. So we've already got the lease facilities team have already got that one.
Thank you.
Okay, we had a seconder, so I'll speak to this. I believe, the community would, definitely, the feedback that I get is the community wants to see us be respectful to the history. Some of the history that gets talked about is that we have even got soldiers here from, Boer War conflicts and all that actually mightn't even have been from this region, but they've actually died in our cemetery, in a very early cemetery. So there's a lot of history that needs recording, and we have a lot of family members, distant relatives that come and look for this information. So the more that we can be respectful to those that have been buried in our not our main cemetery, but in the early days they had it was a much smaller town, and I think that would be good if council can consider it in this budget process. Okay, Councillor Burkett.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, just to follow on from that, also there's a lot of interest being generated on social media with historical sites, and there's been a lot of people having conversations, which is good for the general community. And I think going on the Dolby Dilla success of that, getting that all rectified and up and going, I think it's a great thing for the area.
Yeah, does anyone else wish to speak? I'll just sum up. One of the things is that it's generally driven by volunteers that are giving up their own time, which is like gold, always volunteering. So any way council can support it, I believe council's got a bigger responsibility as it looks after cemeteries and so forth, but it's also working in partnership and doing what we can to facilitate things happening. So on that note, we'll go to the vote. All those in favour? 7-0. 11.1. 2022-23 Quarter 3 Progress Report, Operational Plan to the 31st of March 2023. Do we have a mover?
Just excuse me, just for a second, just look back on the previous motion, the vote count was 7-0. It should be 7-0 or 8-0?
Councillor Adbrook left the room.
Thank you.
Councillor Edwards
Apologies
as
for
well.
that, just picking it up.
Okay, do we have a mover for this motion? Councillor Burkett.
I'd like to move that Council 1 receive and note the contents of the 2022-23 Quarter 2 report. 2, endorse the Quarter 3 report as presented in accordance with Section 104(7) of the Local Government Act 2009.
Do we have a seconder? Councillor Guthrie and...
Just ask a question to the CEO. Where the intent is to lay the Q3 review on the table.
The budget, yeah.
So should we not deal with the budget review prior to adopting the Quarter 3 report?
The operational plan is the statutory document that needs to be endorsed on a quarterly basis by council, not the budget itself. So the operational plan is an historic document, so it's up until this point, and adopting this today won't affect your budget going forward.
Okay.
We just want to make sure that we
I'm just making sure
reconcile
the
it
sequence is
properly.
right.
Yeah, sure.
Good question, mate.
Okay, does anyone wish to speak? If not, we'll go to the vote. All those in favour? 8-0. 11.2, Tender 23019, Register of Pre-Qualified Suppliers for Vegetation Management, including ground maintenance. Do we have a mover? Councillor McMullen.
Yeah, I'd move that Council 1 approve the addition of the new suppliers to the Register of Pre-Qualified Suppliers for Vegetation Management Services, including grounds maintenance, being in accordance with S232 of the Local Government Regulation 2012, with businesses registered under the proposed sub-panels. 2, approve the pre-qualification of the businesses on the register. Approve that pre-qualification of the businesses on the register remain current until the end of 31st of March 2024. 3, authorise the Chief Executive Officer or delegate to enter into a deed of agreement with the selected tenderers, formalising the terms and conditions detailed in the draft agreement. Urban allotments: 1, Glen Thomas Plumbing; 2, James Yard Care Services. Urban public space major facilities: 1, Glen Thomas Plumbing; 2, James Yard Care Services. Rural roadside slashing: 1, Glen Thomas Plumbing; specialist arboricultural services, qualified arborist; 1, cut above tree service; tree lopping, cut above tree service; minor vegetation management: 1, Glen Thomas Plumbing; 2, James Yard Care Services; 3, cut above trees care; other vegetation management services: 1, Glen Thomas Plumbing; 2, James Yard Care Services.
Okay, do we have a seconder? I'll second that. Is that, Councillor Ladbroke, you have your hand up?
Yeah.
Righto, Councillor Ladbroke. And does anyone wish to speak to the motion?
No, I don't. Thanks, Mr Mayor.
Mayor, just for clarity, Councillor McMullen, you meant cut above tree care
Yeah,
in all
that's
those
right.
spots, didn't you? You
Yes.
said cut above
Service.
tree services,
Oh,
but
sorry,
you
care,
mean
yeah,
care, don't
yeah.
you? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, no one wishes to speak. We're going to go to the vote. All those in favour? 8-0. Point 1, Surat Fishing and Restocking Club, renewal of Surat Aquarium Management Agreement.
Morning.
Okay, do we have any questions? Do we have a mover? Councillor Hancock.
I move that Council 1 enter into an agreement with the Surat Fishing and Restocking Club Incorporated for a period of 3 years for the feeding and maintenance associated with the aquarium and the Surat Cobb & Co charging station. 2, pay the Surat Fishing and Restocking Club Incorporated a fee of $220 per week to provide this service.
Yeah, we have a seconder, Councillor Ladbroke. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak to it?
I do, thanks.
Please go ahead.
Thank you. I would just like to commend the Surat Fishing and Restocking Club on this service that they provide to the Surat community, and they have done for many years, and they do a really great job with a very small volunteer basis. They are a not-for-profit organisation, and the beauty of this investment is they reinvest back into the community, and the money that they provide for this fee for doing a fairly big job for the Surat community, they reinvest by stocking the Blonde River with fingerlings. And so I just think this is a win-win situation for the community. We're getting a job done via a community group that reinvests that money back into the community. And I would actually just like to thank the small number of volunteers that have given up their time for many, many, many years to do this for the Surat community.
Got a question. Do we pay the fee and then give them, if they want prawns or whatever, that's on top of that?
We pay for the fingerlings.
Oh, well, I think actually sometimes they said they feed the fish prawns, and that is that on top of it?
Mr Mayor, the fee is to cover costs associated with looking after the aquarium and purchasing.
Okay, so that's included
Purchasing
in there,
whatever they're
is it?
feeding the
Whatever they
fish
want
as
to
well.
spend it on.
Yes, that's right, yeah. And it is a rather specialist type activity. It's something that we don't have the skill set within the organisation to take care of those aquariums.
Oh, yeah, no, it's not that. I'm just wondering if it's enough, if they've, got to buy the prawns and so forth. I'll speak to the motion. Yeah, no, I've certainly spoken to people that have been actually digging worms down there for the fish in the aquarium at different times, and also, yeah, it's just a massive commitment that people, as councillor said. Massive commitment from the community. It's one of the shining lights that visitors talk about in the Maranoa, and it's a wonderful thing the community does. And the Surat Fishing and Restocking Club, which are very active in making sure that there's fingerlings and so forth as well. So congratulations to them, and any way we could support them, I'll certainly be full support in supporting this motion, anything else they need doing. Okay, does anyone else wish to speak? Does the move wish to sum up?
No, thanks.
We'll go to the vote then. All those in favour? 8-0.
Thanks, Tanya.
Mr Mayor, before we go into close, can I just move a notice of motion with regards to camp draft grounds at the Bassett Park, please?
Yeah, please go ahead.
I'd just like to move that council approve a second fee waiver for the current project of the new lighting towers. They made an amendment to their plans and shifted the lighting stands about 6 metres. And they have to get a approved fee waiver before they can go ahead with the project. NRG are ready to start, but they've got one fee waiver for the original plan, so now they've got to get the second one.
So did you want to get some information and us to come back a little bit later in the meeting, or do you know do we know what we're approving?
A fee waiver for the amendment to the plans.
You know how much the fee is, though?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's what I mean. Like, I realise it's got to be done today.
Okay, well, we'll do it later in the meeting, just as long as we get it.
So just get the information so we know what we're approving, if you know what I mean, like the details, the wording in that, so it can be done from planning.
Through the chair, I have actually reached out to planning this morning to give us some more information.
Thanks.
Because the indication they're giving me is that we do have the ability to waive not-for-profit.
That's
For not-for-profit.
This is
So
what the
I'll
concern-
double check this for you, and just for completeness, you'd move the item without notice first, and then you'd move the secondary motion. But we'll look into that and get that back to you.
So do you want to move to put it on the agenda, and then we'll deal with it
right,
once
I'll
we get
move
the
it.
info?
I'll second that.
Righto, any opposition? We'll go to the vote on putting it on the agenda. All those in favour? 8-0. Okay, and we'll come back with the info, so it's on the agenda. Righto. Okay, do we have someone to move to go into closed?
Conflicts first, Mr Mayor.
Oh, conflicts? Yep, sure. Please go ahead if someone's got some.
I'd like to declare a conflict of interest on item C4, description employee leave balance update. Declaring councillor is myself, Joanne Hancock. A person with interest is myself, Joanne Hancock. Particulars of interest was I was an employee of Maranoa Regional Council within the dates referenced in the report. Type of conflict is prescribed conflict of interest, and the action is I'll leave the room while the matter is discussed and voted on.
Okay, any other conflicts? Okay, then do we have someone to move into closed? Councillor McMullen.
Now I'll move that in accordance with the provisions of section 254J3 of the Local Government Regulation 2012, the council resolved to close the meeting to the public to discuss confidential items that its councillors consider as necessary to close the meeting. In accordance with section 254J5 of the Local Government Regulation 2012, the following table provides the matters to be discussed and an overview of what is to be discussed while the meeting is closed. Agenda item C1, expressions of interest, 236 Edward Street North, Roma, lot 1 on SP 295224. C2, expressions of interest to lease council-owned land, lot 410 and 411 on Y2211. C3, 2022-23 quarter 3 budget review. C4, employee leave balances update. C5, Roma Denise swimming pool redevelopment design project, community engagement framework. C6, project management of event 13 disaster recovery fund arrangement. C7, nomination for funding under the Australian Government Australian Government's Heavy Vehicle Safety and Productivity Program, C.8 Potential Car Park Roma update. C.9 Roma Airport New Cost Recovery Charge, C.10 Injune Museum update, C.11 Request to Purchase Council-owned land part of Lot 11 on RP 87084. C12 Riversleigh Road Access. C13 Roma Saleyards Contract Services Strategy. C14 Draft 2023-24 Capital Projects. Thanks.
I just have a question, Mr.
Please go ahead.
Item C3, wasn't that to come off the?
Yeah, we can
Got to do that after.
Yeah, they'll
Maybe we can
move
make
the
it up.
motion when they get there.
Okay.
Okay, so do we have a seconder? Councillor Ladbroke, anyone wish to speak? We're going to go to the vote. All those in favour? 8-0.
We're in closed.
Okay, C1, expressions of interest 236 Edwards Street, Roma North Roma. Interesting.
You got to do the lot one.
Yeah, I probably should. Lot 1 on SP 295224. Councillor Burkett.
I'd like to move that Council 1 resolved to apply the exception available pursuant to Section 236(1)(a) of the Local Government Regulation 2012 Queensland to sell the house and land at 236 Edward Street North, Roma, described as Lot 1 on SP 295224, on the basis that the A, sale price and all other terms and conditions will be no less favourable to council than the terms previously offered by tenderers responding to RFT 23009. B, Lot 1 on SP 295224 was previously offered for sale by tender, was not sold. C, sale price paid will not be less than the market valuation. 2, delegate authority of the Chief Executive Officer or delegate to finalise and execute the sale of Lot 1 on SP 295224 to John Bainham for the amount of $111,111. Him too. Benham, and execute any necessary documentation associated with the disposal of this property based on those conditions. Outline the recommendation 1 above.
We have a seconder, Councillor Ladbroke. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak to it? We'll go to the vote. All those in favour? 8-0.
57.
Thank you. C2, expressions of interest to lease council-owned land on lot 410 and 411 on Y2211. Councillor Ladbroke.
I'd like to move that council call for tenders from parties interested in leasing lot 410 and 411 on Y2211, situated in Yulbar, for a minimum period of 3 years.
We have a seconder. Councillor Taylor. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? We'll go to the vote. All those in favour? 8-0.
That one's laid in the table. 107.
But we actually have to later.
So C3, 2022-23 quarter 3 budget review. Councillor Taylor.
I move we lay this on the table for a future meeting.
Okay, all those in favour? 8-0. Thank you. C4, employee leave balances update. I'd like to move.
Got a conflict.
Oh, right.
Have to declare it or?
Yeah, she did before.
Oh,
Yeah, declared it before.
before we went into closed.
I'd like to move that one, council receive and note the report 2, endorse option 1 as outlined in the report. 3, future balances are correctly adjusted from the next pay period commencing 26th of April 2023. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Taylor. Does anyone wish to speak to the motion? I'll speak to the motion. I would like to say that we value our staff at Maranoa Regional Council and appreciate what they do for council and the people of the Maranoa, and appreciate all of their efforts that they do on a daily basis, and I'll be very happy to support this motion. Okay, does anyone else wish to speak? Then we're going to go to the vote. All those in favour? 7-0.
Who's youngest up that end? George.
Need to close it.
Next page is 119.
You'll be able to do that next week, Jeff, when it gets you.
What's that?
C5, Roma Denise Spencer Pool Redevelopment Design Project Community Engagement Framework. Councillor O'Neill.
I'll move the council adopt the community engagement framework for the Roma Denise Spencer Pool Redevelopment Design Project as attached to the officer's report, subject to the following amendments. 1, include an initial engagement step where council canvass the broader community for their input on examples of great aquatic facilities and or an element within a facility the council and its designers can research and consider as part of the overall Denise Spencer Pool Redevelopment Design Project. 2, include reference to the position of Regional Sport and Recreation Development Coordinator in section 2.1, internal stakeholders.
Okay, do we have a seconder? Councillor Ladbrook. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? Councillor O'Neill.
I'll just say that I think this is a step in the right direction for us to be going out for further consultation with the community on what will be a generational investment into a regional asset. The Denise Spencer Pool has, worked exceptionally well in providing, a place to cool off or to learn to swim or to compete for the last 50 years. We've heard feedback from the community that it is time to see significant investment occur there. We want to get it right. It will be an asset for our community, at least for the next 50 years, with whatever we come up with in terms of the works that need to occur. I think this is exciting for all pool users. I think it's exciting that we're looking at this project in line with the 2032 Olympics coming to Brisbane. I think there's real opportunities there to position ourselves with this type of investment into a facility at a time where there will be, international sporting competition happening in Queensland. And so this is a good step, and I look forward to the feedback coming from our communities as to what they want in their facility.
Okay, does someone else wish to speak for the motion? Councillor
Yeah,
Burkett.
Mr Mayor, I just think it is a great investment, and I think it's great that we're doing that extra consultation and going to the nth degree to get it right, because it's, we want to make sure it's a lifelong investment, that we do get it right and get the key stakeholders involved. And I just hope it's not too distant. It's not too far in the distance that we see it come to fruition.
Yeah, I'd like to speak to the motion. I do, basically understand that the pool is getting to the end of its life, so council really doesn't have an option. But I think anywhere where the community has meaningful input into it will make it better. I've had quite a lot of feedback about disappointing parts of our pool, and I believe that we've got a very good designer on board that really can harness a great experience, look at reducing our pool costs considerably by having the new pool structure. And one of the big things is that I'm very glad that part of the motion that is being put forward is that we actually ask the community where are their best pools, what do they like and see about as they go around our great nation, and getting some of that feedback that will obviously can come through when we do the full consultation, and looking forward to those steps, because the more we bring the community on the journey, the better the end result will be. So I think if we do all of this with some due diligence, then the community will get an asset that they can really use, and council will actually be able to significantly reduce the operating costs of the Roma Denise Spencer pool. So that will be a big advantage if we do find grants and so forth to get this over the line. Does anyone else wish to speak? Does the mover wish to sum up?
Yeah, thanks very much, Chair. I just want to acknowledge our Deputy Director with the work that he's put into the community engagement framework. It really acknowledges the fact that this is a regional asset, and that the feedback that council's seeking is from the entire community, not just people in Roma. Whilst the facility sits in Roma, it's used extensively by our regional community, and I think we really do need to hear from them, what they want, because this is, as I said earlier, an investment, two-generation investment, to set our region up for success in terms of an aquatic centre. And so I welcome that feedback and look forward to hearing it from our community when it comes back to the table.
Okay, on that note, we'll go to the vote. All those in favour? 8-0.
142.
134, maybe? C6, Project Management Event 13 Disaster, Councillor McMullen, Recovery Funding Arrangement.
Mr Mayor, I'll move that council, one, authorise the Chief Executive Officer or delegate to enter into a contractual arrangement with Lonergan Project Services Proprietary Limited to provide specialist project management services and support for the delivery of the Event 13 Disaster Recovery Funding Arrangement Program. 2, include costs associated with this services as part of the future claims for a reimbursement to the Queensland Reconstruction Authority under the Event 13 Disaster Recovery Funding Arrangement Program.
Do we have a seconder? Councillor Guthrie, any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? We're going to go to the vote. All those in favour? 8-0. C7, nomination for funding under the Australian Government Heavy Vehicle Safety and Productivity Program. Councillor Hancock.
I move that Council 1 submit an application under the Australian Government's Heavy Vehicle Safety and Productivity Program for the vehicle rest area eastern approach to Roma opposite the Big Rig project. 2, endorse that the existing budget allocation for the project be listed in the application as a council's co-contribution towards the project. 3, authorise the Chief Executive Officer to sign the submission form and any further agreements with the Australian Government as required.
We have a seconder, Councillor Ladbrook, and does the mover wish to speak to the motion?
No, thank you.
I'll speak to the motion. I believe that this, a fantastic opportunity to improve a vehicle rest area. You've only got to be driving into Roma at night time, and you really see the different people in different vehicles that pull up and look for the safety and the beauty of our big rig, adjacent to our big rig park land area and our entrance to town. So any way we can improve that, will not only, I think, be a proud thing for local residents, but also visitors through the region. Does anyone else wish to speak? We'll go to the vote. All those in favour? 8-0. C.8 Potential Car Park, Roma, update. I'd like to move that council receive and note the report, investigate potential options to lease the respective lots of land with indicative costs from a planning point of view, if this would happen, with the opportunity for the owner to provide suitable hard stand. And the officers to bring a report back to a future meeting. Okay, do we have a seconder for that motion? Councillor Ladbroke. Okay, I'll speak to this. I think this is an opportunity. It might be a way that it'll have very low costs to council, and it could be something that I think that we should investigate as a matter of due diligence as councillors. Okay, does anyone else wish to speak for the motion or against?
Yeah, I'll speak for.
Please go ahead, Councillor Ladbroke.
I'd just like to say that we do need a car park down that end of town. So if we look at all these different options and probably the cheapest options, what we can get away with, it'll be good for down that end.
Okay, does anyone else wish to speak for or against? Okay, we'll go to the vote. All those in favour? All those against? So that is 4 all, and I'll vote in favour of the motion. So, okay, 5-4, 5-4. If I can call for a division. C9, Roma Airport new cost recovery charge. Do we have a mover? Councillor McMullen.
I'd like to move that council, one, introduce a new $40, excluding GST, charge per authority to drive airside or authority to use airside application, both new and renewal applications. 2, introduce a new $40 excluding GST charge for airside access card and key applications. 3, introduce a new $80 excluding GST per hour work safety officer charge. 4, update the schedule of fees and charges reflective of points 1 and 3. 1 to 3, effect 1st of July 2023.
Okay, do we have a seconder for that motion? Councillor Taylor. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak to the motion? Okay, then we'll go to the vote. All those in favour? All those against? That's 6-2 if I can call for a division. Okay, moving on to C.10 Injune Museum update. Do we have a mover? Councillor Guthrie.
I'd like to move that council receive and note the officer's report as presented.
Do we have a seconder? Councillor McMullen. Anybody would like to speak to the motion?
Mr Mayor, I'd just like to say that the Injune Museum has been a long time as a conceptual idea, and it's great to see that it's actually now being constructed, the actual building, and now the next stage is to start its fit out and anticipating it being open to the public. So this is this is the next stage in a long process, but it's well worth waiting for.
Okay, I'll speak to the motion. Well, I'm very glad in this term of council that council has made something that has been waiting to happen for a long time and been promised for a long time actually happened, which is the Injune Museum. And the community of Injune and district are very glad to have somewhere for their history to be. And you know, obviously the next challenge is fitting it out. And I see that there's some absolutely grand plans for the museum fit out. And yeah, obviously council is helping where it can, and we'll look forward to seeing it to complete total fruition. Okay, does anyone else wish to speak? Councillor Burkett?
Mr Mayor, I'm just so glad to see the building up and running, and a fantastic job. It's really to a high standard, and I'd just like to congratulate the Injune community. They're very, they're not only ambitious, but they follow through on things, and they seem to get the job done, and it's a credit to them. So, yeah, look forward to see it finished up.
Okay, does anyone else wish to speak? Does the move wish to sum up?
No, just very, very appreciative of the fact that it's a testimony to the hard work of a lot of Injune people and the community itself.
Okay, well, on that note, we'll go to the vote. All those in favour? 8-0.
And page 213.
Thank you. Okay, C11, request to purchase council-owned land, part of lot 11 on RP 87084. Councillor Burkett.
I'd like to move that Council 1 delegate authority to the Chief Executive Officer or delegate to negotiate an agreement with the Department of Energy and Public Works in relation to subdivision of lot 11 on RP 87084 to create 2 allotments for future state government employee housing, 2, explore subdividing the balance of the lot to facilitate future housing development in Mitchell, 3, consider allocating funds in an upcoming budget to fund costs to be incurred by council for the development of the balance of the allotment.
We have a second to Councillor Guthrie. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak?
Yes, Mr Mayor, I think this is exciting times actually just for the community of Mitchell, and not only there's been a vacant lot for a long time except for the flood period. I think this is great to see the government putting back some housing that's most needed, and also might kickstart a bit more development in the town.
Yeah, okay. I'd like to speak to the motion. I too agree. I'd like to thank the state government for some commitments apparently in the media about building some housing in the regions. So looking forward to that happening, and anything that we can do to make that happen, as well as council have plans to actually deliver on a considerable amount of housing if we can actually get that finalised as far as purchasing land. So looking forward to more that we can do in the region to fix or try and take some pressure off the acute lack of rental affordability and so forth. Does anyone else wish to speak? Then we're going to go to the vote. All those in favour? 8-0.
232.
C12, Riversleigh Road access. Do we have a mover? Councillor McMullen.
Mr Mayor, I'd like to move that Council 1 endorse the addition of the unnamed section of Riversleigh Road onto Council's road register with the classification of rural access secondary and a length of 2.9 kilometres. 2, consult with the community on naming the unnamed section of road. 3, acknowledge annual estimated maintenance costs of $2,500 per annum. 4, acknowledge the road is off alignment and currently an easement.
Okay, we have a second to Councillor Ladbrook. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak to it?
I'd like to say, Mr Mayor, thanks for the staff for resolving this issue. It's been going on for quite some time, and I think we've got a good outcome here.
Okay, I'll speak to the motion. I'd like to thank the Surat Director, Matt Gain. Thank you for all of the efforts in making this happen. This has actually been going on for quite a while and come around a couple of times. And because we got the local boss in Waroo, we've actually made it happen. So congratulations in a relatively short amount of time from when the council report was put in to when it came back. So congratulations for making things happen. That's what the feedback that I get from residents, that's what really makes dealing with council very pleasurable when they can get a result. So congratulations on this report, and look forward, if it's supported, to getting it done. On that note, we'll go to the vote. All those in favour? 8-0. Okay, now moving on to C13, 246. C13, Roma Saleyards Contract Services Strategy. Councillor Ladbroke.
I'd like to move that council extends current contracts under the same terms on a month-by-month basis until the tender is decided. And number two, be provided tender specification options for a further briefing.
And through the chair, it's just...
Should we need to name them?
Shall I go through them again?
Just
or
number-
yeah,
just
just-
number three?
Yeah, number 3.
Number three, authorise the CEO or delegate to exercise any documents necessary.
Execute.
What did I say, exercise?
Exercise.
You
I
might
was
be
thinking
back
about
at
the
school.
gym. I was thinking about going to the gym. Execute any of the...
Okay, do we have a seconder? Councillor McMullen. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? We'll go to the vote. All those in favour? 8-0. Okay, C14, draft 23-24 capital projects. Councillor Hancock.
I move that we lay this on the table to a future meeting.
Till the next meeting,
Yep. Okay, we'll go to the vote. All those in favour? 8-0. Any further business, councillors?
Yeah, we got one to go, Mr Mayor.
Through the chair, did anyone second that?
Motion, isn't it?
Not delayed.
You don't have to.
Sorry, apologies, you're absolutely right.
Sorry, yeah,
The notice without motion. No,
That's all right.
motion without motion.
You got that information back, Councillor?
Yeah.
Okay, so what number is that one, notice
The item
without
without
motion,
notice.
Kel? Do you need to do anything with it now, or?
Probably just withdraw it.
Yeah, it'd probably just,
It'd be
What
C15,
see,
what would it be?
Yeah,
there was no,
8.2, is it?
No, it was in
No.
open. It was the last one in open.
You happy with 8.2? Okay, so 8.2,
where did we got it, we didn't write it up there?
Item without notice.
So all we did was put it on the agenda.
Yeah.
it was a fee waiver, wasn't it?
Well,
Yeah, that's what you called it, didn't
yeah,
you?
the fee waiver,
So you'd be able to use that as,
we've got to find
Should
where
really
it
be
We
14.2.
didn't really put a name on it. We just did, it was a statement.
There it is there.
Yep. It should go on as 14.2.
But you just had it there a minute ago, Kev. Oh,
Yeah,
where's that?
And it just... And then you can move another motion to withdraw it.
Yeah, I'll move a motion that withdraw this resolution due to the information we've received throughout the day.
Have I received? So what is that information that we've received?
Actually, as a not-for-profit.
As a not-for-profit group, they should never been,
We
they were
can fund that out of
never
in-kind, so.
been, asked.
I'll second that.
Righto, we've got a seconder. All those in favour? 8-0. Any further business, councillors? If not, I'll close the meeting at 3:31 PM. Thank you for your attendance.